Arsenal fans, it's over, it's done. Transfer window is there, and I thought I'd put out a quick video to talk about my thoughts on Arsenal's business in the transfer window. It's been a few days. I had some other commitments, but I thought now was the time. I said at the beginning of the transfer window, we had to judge Arteta from after the window and what he has done. Now, I gotta say, he has brought in a few players, and I want to be fair, so I've got the list right here. So, he's got 50 million Ben White. Ben White, 50 million from Brighton, who I think that's clearly we have overspent for him, but you can kind of understand why that is, because he's English and he is a talented player, and we had to pay a premium. But that's all Arsenal's fault on why we had to go for Ben White, because we could have gone for other English players if they'd done the right scouting, and it's quite obvious that Arsenal were in no man's land when it come to signing a defender this summer, which I also personally don't think that they need, but I'll talk about that later. Then there was Martin Odegaard from Real Madrid. It has here 30 mil. This is from Chris Wheatley on football.london. Not sure if that amount was correct, because I heard something closer to about 40. But if it was 30 with a guy that has 2 years left on his deal, maybe a little bit over. I'm thinking somewhere closer to 20 to 25 would have been a little bit fairer, but you have to say 30. It's fine. 24 mil for Aaron Ramsdale. I think that that's a bit much. I think that should be closer to about 18 to 20. But again, it's Arsenal getting caught in no man's land, having to sign Aaron Ramsdale. What we should have done was sign him at the end of last season. Not this past season that just went, but the season before that, in 2020. That's when we should have, May 2020 is when we should have signed him. Right, because we probably could have gotten him for a lot less. Why? And then for us to then go and sign him after he only just come to Sheffield United from Bournemouth for 24 mil. So again, we end up paying a premium, and this is for a side who supposedly, absolutely supposedly, has a self-sustaining model, and we're just out here paying premium for players. So that's the three there. And then here comes to the ones that I could honestly say that I believe is value for money overall. So we got Takahiro Tomayasu for 17 mil. Can play right back and centre back. Played for Bologna. I don't know much about him, but I think he could be a decent player. And you know what? 17 million is around the amount that I thought that Arsenal at the beginning of the window would have aimed closer to what they would have been looking to spend for players. So for me, I thought around that 20 million mark was what Arsenal would have looked at. Players there who would have probably had a little bit of experience, but still had lots of room to grow in terms of potential. So that's what I think Tomayasu kind of falls into. Then there's Sambi Lokonga at 15, which I think is great business. We've already seen him so far, and I think that's a very good signing for Arsenal. I think primarily he was brought in to be a backup for Thomas Partey, which you have to say that is his role. But with how things are going up right now, I expect him to see in the starting lineup, especially with that waste of space, Granit Xhaka being suspended for Arsenal's next game at the very least. So maybe Arteta will take the thumb out of his arse and play Sambi Lokonga in the next game. But we'll see. We'll see on that. Then Nunu Taarabt for 7 mil, which I think Nuno is great going forwards. Defensively, a little shaky there, in my opinion. But I think overall, a decent player. And I think the last three that I've kind of listed overall, I think those are fair prices. But for me, it has to be the first three in Ben White, in Odegaard, and in Ramsdale that I think there's just a bit too much for me in terms of Ramsdale and Odegaard, and way over the mark in terms of Ben White for the amount that you're going to pay for a player. But what does this mean now? Did we buy everyone that we needed to? No. Because the same way how we play constantly requires somebody that can hold the ball up. Aubameyang can't do it. He just isn't strong enough. It's not his game. You got Lacazette, who, yeah, he holds up the ball pretty well, but he's leaving, and like we didn't bring anybody in, like anyone. Like even if they had gone for a left field type of player, someone that yes can hold the ball up, but doesn't fit the Arsenal mold, doesn't fit what we're trying to do, but that's his function. Someone like don't laugh, but Andy Carroll. He can hold the ball up, like, you know, like at least I could have seen some method to the madness. But right now, I can honestly say that I see nothing right now. I see nothing. And I'm hearing stories about how Arsenal are doing games behind doors and they beat Brentford, 4-0 behind doors. I guarantee you that was against Brentford's C team, you know, probably the under 23s or the under 18s. It wasn't their first team. I can guarantee you that. But I don't know. We still haven't addressed issues, and that was one of them, the issues there. Other issues that we needed to address was a dominant midfield player. Now, I just finished talking about Sambi. Now, Sambi's great. Sambi, I think, does a part of what Thomas Partey does, and all of what Xhaka does. You know, passes the ball well, can move forward and get into the final third and try to create things there. Intercepts very nicely, wins the ball very nicely, but not dominant. When I mean dominant, I mean a DM that's big, strong. And another added bonus with that should be winning the ball, not just with his feet and chest, but with his head as well, so that we also win those second balls on top of that. That's something that we don't have. And it would also fit into the supposed game plan in terms of possession-based football and keeping the ball well. That was the position that I thought that we really needed. You know, we have a midfield right now that, unfortunately, it's very geared towards Granit Xhaka. Sometimes it can be through Thomas Partey, but a lot of times he's not there. But most of the time, it runs through Granit Xhaka, which limits you in terms of what you can do. And having the right balance of the midfield was needed, and they did not address this whatsoever. People talked about Basuma, Yves Bissouma at Brighton. They didn't get him. They didn't even look at him. Like, if we had take the 50 mil for Ben White and take 40 mil out of that and gone and get Basuma, I'd have been far happier with the transfer window. Because I know that is a position that Arsenal need and that they've needed for years. It's one of those key critical positions because it allows you to be able to build a good midfield base, which is something right now that the balance of Arsenal's midfield is all off. Now, there are a few substitutes that we could talk about. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, for instance, was rumoured to be leaving, but it's said that he is now, kissed and made up with Mikel Arteta, and he supposedly is in Mikel Arteta's plans for this season. So let's see in and around how that works out. I will say this, is that Ainsley, I'm looking direct at the camera with you. I hope you're right in that Arteta has a plan for you. Because if I go on what I've seen previously on plans with Arteta, I don't know about that. I hope you're right and I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, because I just want to see Arsenal progress. I try to be fair, but what we're seeing right now, and why a lot of Arsenal fans are pretty much annoyed, is that we're not seeing much positive. We're not seeing anything that we can latch onto to say, yeah, that looks great. We're not seeing any of that. What we're seeing right now is just crap as far as I'm concerned. Now we have the next week, 2 weeks off with international break. Will be really interesting to see how some of the players get along on the international break as well. But we got to get the midfield sorted. And I'll tell you, you have your work cut out for you. I wish you the very best for you to go and fix it, because when it comes to setting up the team, when it comes for requesting players, he is the one. He is the one who's responsible for that. Then we got to talk about the defense. Now, last season our defense was pretty good. Now that's because we had Gabriel in defense, in the defense. Now Gabriel's coming back, and he should be back against Norwich. But we need Gabriel in there as our left-sided centre back. For me, what I'm seeing with Arsenal, we need to get back to the same back four we were using last season, because what I'm seeing is constant mistakes. Callum Chambers, like, what is going on? Like, I honestly believe the reason why we even signed Tomayasu is that Callum Chambers just isn't getting the job done. So they had to go buy this 23, 24-year-old Japanese international to go out and try to solve problems. And you know what? I hope it works out, to be honest, for both players. Like, I'm a fan of Callum Chambers. I don't know what's up, because Tierney, it's the same thing with him. He's just been not the Tierney of old. You know, for crying out loud, sometimes he's looked like bloody Andre Santos playing at left back this season so far. So I want my Tierney back. I want my Tierney back. I want my Chambers back. I want to see the type of Arsenal that we all want to see. You know, solid defensively. I know that we don't have all the right players that we want, but surely you can't tell me that all of the 25 players that are going to be registered at this club this season are just complete and utter crap. I refuse to believe that. There is a way to get the best out of these players, and it is up to the manager to figure that out and to find it out. Ideally, you would have wanted him to figure this out from like May, June time, and then you go into the transfer window with an actual plan to say, this is what it is, this is what I want, this is what I need to do in order to execute my plan. Because as far as I'm concerned, there is no plan. There is no plan whatsoever that what I see. And if there is a plan, God knows only know what it is. But I know one thing. Whatever happens, now, Arsenal fans, now is the time to judge Arteta. No more excuses, no more lies. Just, it's time to judge Arteta. We've got Norwich, we've got Burnley, we've got Spurs. Then I think it's Palace we've got. Then it's Watford, Leicester, and Aston Villa. Those will come to the first 10 games. And I'm saying this just off the top of my head, so forgive me if I'm wrong on some of those. But nevertheless, we've got some interesting games, I will say the least. And I do not want to see Arsenal, again, still bottom of the table, no wins, 3 losses, and haven't even scored a goal. Like, the game against Norwich, even if Arsenal was to win that game, I'm telling you this right now, it's the performance that's the most important thing. Do I think we could get a win against Norwich? Yes. Even with the new signings that we've brought in? Yes, I do. But if the performance isn't there, and Arteta's had 2 weeks to go and sort things out, and he's only playing once a week, it really does say that either the players have given up on him and they've been like, he's lost it, or like, let's just get it done. Like, if we don't get it done now, we've basically got to write off the season. These next 3 games are so important and so critical. Not just from Mikel Arteta, because I definitely think that his job's on the line for these next 3 games against Burnley, Norwich and Spurs. But also for Arsenal's fans, for our season. You know, we want something to look forward to throughout the season, but we want to make sure that we're heading in the right direction. And the next 3 games, and really the next 7 games, are really pivotal around that. So I have to say that I hope Arteta gets it right. I don't have much faith in him, but I do secretly hope he gets it right overall. But what are you guys' thoughts on the transfer window? I'm going to give this transfer window overall a 4 out of 10. I think it's quite poor. I think it's below average, to be really honest. Some bright spots. I think that Sambi has shown his mettle on what he can do. I think Tavares looks decent, and when you look at the price of him and potentially what he can be worth, I think it's great in terms of incomings. Tomayasu, I think that there's more there with him. I have questions on Ramsdale. I have questions on Odegaard, and I know everybody's saying, but look at what he did last season. That's right, 2 goals, 2 assists across all competitions. Great, you know, fantastic. And then 50 million Ben White, who's, you know, getting bodied by Brentford players. So not very good. And then when you look at the outgoings as well, Willock, you know what? When you include outgoings, I'm going to drop that down to a 3 out of 10. Because now thinking the fact that we got rid of Joe Willock, who could have been a good use to our Arsenal midfield, even if it's in central midfield or at the number 10, I still think that Joe Willock could have been a great use for Arsenal. Reece Nelson going on loan to Feyenoord. And FYI, I will be kind of keeping on track of our loan players. I'll try to watch as many of their games as I possibly can through some streams. So I do hope that Reece Nelson gets a lot of games at Feyenoord and, you know, gets his career back on track, whether it's with Arsenal next season or at Feyenoord or another club overall. Obviously, we know about Guendouzi going to Marseille, Saliba going to Marseille, who has been very good at Marseille, and I've heard nothing but compliments about him as well. Dan Ballard going out on loan. You've got Tyrese John Jules going out on loan. What's his name? Jonathan Dinzeyi going out on loan. You've got I'm sure there's more that's gone out on loan, but I'll be putting out a loan video as well. But we've had lots of loans that have gone out. Some of them I thought that could have been useful as well. But incoming wise, this is the squad that we have. And Arteta has got to take the pieces that he has and find a way. Find a way, Arteta. Find a way. Because if you don't, bang, you're gone, my friend. So, guys, leave your thoughts below. I gave the transfer window a 3 out of 10 for Arsenal. I think that there are a few little bright spots. But lots of bad. Lots of bad. Not having a definitive plan on the incomings. And the interview that, or the release that Vinay talked about. Ugh. It makes me sick. Don't let me get started. Nevertheless, leave your comments below on what you thought of the window so far. The stayings, the goings. I mean, oh, we got rid of Willian. Well, more like Willian got away from us. It's how it should be. Because he decided to cancel his contract. Wow. With us. And the comments from his agent on around that just says it all on what's going on with Arsenal Football Club right now. So, leave your comments below on your thoughts on Arsenal's transfer window. Let's get a discussion going. Let's look forward to international football. And for the rest of the season, at least up until January. Because I'm sure it is going to be a roller coaster with how things go. But, guys, thank you for all watching who are still there. Leave your comments below. Check out some of my other content. There's a link in the description. And I will see you on my next video.